In the idyllic suburb of Brooksville, where perfectly manicured lawns and friendly waves were the norm, no one would have ever suspected the dark secrets brewing behind closed doors. Karen Whitman, a devoted wife and mother of two, seemed to have it all: a loving husband, a beautiful home, and a reputation as the heart of the community. Yet beneath the polished veneer of her life lay a void, a creeping loneliness that grew more profound with each passing year. Karen's husband, John, a successful businessman, had become increasingly distant, his mind always on his work. Their conversations, once filled with laughter and shared dreams, had dwindled into a series of mundane exchanges about bills and the children's schedules. The passion that had once defined their relationship had faded, replaced by a cold routine. Karen felt invisible, trapped in a life that no longer resembled the one she had envisioned when she walked down the aisle years ago. Enter Mark, the handsome and charismatic son of their new neighbors. Fresh out of college and full of youthful exuberance, Mark was everything that Karen's life lacked: exciting, carefree, and, most importantly, attentive. He noticed Karen in a way that no one else did, complimenting her on things her husband had long taken for granted. Their interactions started innocently enough: chats over the fence while gardening, a shared cup of coffee when Mark would drop by to help with small chores. But soon, these moments became the highlight of Karen's day, and the boundaries of propriety began to blur. As summer stretched on, their encounters grew more frequent, each one more intimate than the last. What began as harmless flirtation escalated into secret rendezvous, passionate embraces, and whispered promises. Karen, once a model of suburban virtue, found herself consumed by a forbidden affair with a man nearly half her age. Mark, equally enthralled by the allure of the forbidden, became obsessed with Karen, seeing her not just as a lover, but as the key to an exciting and unconventional life. But in a town as small as Brooksville, secrets have a way of surfacing. Mark's mother, Evelyn, began to notice the changes in her son: his constant disappearances, his sudden mood swings, and the way his eyes lingered on Karen whenever she was near. She tried to dismiss it as a harmless crush, but the truth was too glaring to ignore. Meanwhile, Karen's husband, John, who had long been too engrossed in his work to notice the emotional distance growing between him and his wife, stumbled upon the truth in the most unexpected way: a cryptic text message from Mark, left open on Karen's phone. John's world shattered in an instant. The betrayal cut deep, and the anger that surged within him was overwhelming. He confronted Karen, demanding to know the truth. The confrontation was explosive, a collision of years of pent-up resentment, guilt, and unfulfilled desires. Karen, caught in her lies, confessed to the affair, but it was too late to salvage anything. The damage was done, and the life they had built together was irreparably fractured. The affair could have ended there, a scandalous tale of suburban infidelity, destined to be the talk of the town for months. But the situation took a darker turn when Mark, unable to cope with the sudden end of the affair and the emotional fallout, became increasingly unstable. Consumed by jealousy and obsession, Mark started to stalk Karen, refusing to let go of what they had shared. He believed they were meant to be together, and if he couldn't have her, no one could. One fateful night, as a storm raged outside, Mark broke into the Whitman home, armed and desperate. He confronted Karen in the kitchen, his eyes wild with a mixture of love and hatred. What followed was a violent struggle that left Karen fighting for her life. The sounds of the altercation woke John, who rushed downstairs to find his wife being attacked by the very man who had destroyed their marriage. In a desperate attempt to save Karen, John intervened, and in the chaos, Mark's obsession reached its tragic conclusion. When the police arrived, they found a scene of unimaginable horror. Mark lay dead, his life ended by the same hands that had once embraced him with love. Karen, bruised and broken, was left to grapple with the consequences of her choices that had led to a nightmarish end she could never have foreseen. In the aftermath, the quiet town of Brooksville was forever changed. The Whitman home, once a symbol of stability and success, became a chilling reminder of how quickly life can spiral out of control. The affair, the obsession, and the murder became the stuff of local legend, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones for years to come. Karen, now alone, was left to pick up the pieces of a life torn apart by a moment of weakness, a fleeting desire that led to unthinkable tragedy.